here to confess to murder.
If you want to try to be better than this, that way, you are entitled to such counsel.
After declining the counsel of an attorney, Aileen Wuornos confesses.
These guys would say, well, that ain't been doing the doesn't matter. You know, and so when they started getting wrong with me or whatever, I just like opened up and fired. And wasn't enough for me, really.
Aileen tells the police she killed all these men in self-defense. She repeatedly refused to have an attorney present, and she basically hung herself.
I know that I don't want my girlfriend involved, because this is why I'm doing this. He did not do anything, and I'm trying to make this clear. That's why I'm this.
Aileen believed that Tyra was her soulmate. She wanted to be with her to the very end, and that was one of the emotional aspects of the case, and I think that was one of the things that really led Aileen into confessing, was her love for Tyra.
To this day, Aileen's confession still has questions hanging over it.
From 1993 to 2002, Aileen Wuornos' legal team files dozens of appeals, which are repeatedly denied.
Because of all the media attention, you had to take into factor it's going to affect a judge who might rule on your motions. You know, there's the court of public opinion, and you always have to combat an unfavorable media narrative.
I've been in a lot of death rows over the years, and it is horrific. You're in the cell 23 hours a day, a 6x9. Sometimes you have a window, sometimes you don't. You go mad. And she already had enough problems as it was. After several years on death row, Aileen began to complain about her treatment there in the prison. She thought the guards were poisoning her food. Aileen claimed that the guards were blasting noise in her cell so she couldn't sleep.
I think she was sociopathic and psychotic and psychopathic. She thought that the CIA was in on it. She thought there were transmitters in her food.
The appeals process continues for many years, which is common in a capital murder case, but no one anticipates the surprising twist to come.
It was 2001. Aileen had been on death row for about 8 years. And suddenly, she's back in the news.
I robbed him, and I killed him as cold as ice. And I'd do it again, too. And I know I'd kill another person because I've hated humans for a long time.
Aileen fires her defense team and ends all of her appeals. Now she changes her story and says she killed in cold blood. She volunteered to die.
There's no sense in keeping me alive because I just would absolutely kill again. I've got too much anger, too much hatred in me.
Now she is recanting her original claims that it was all in self-defense. She had just finally given up completely.
She was just done. She said, if I have no chance for anyone to believe me on anything, then just let me go. But I didn't believe that in her heart she really wanted to die.
Attorneys and activists claim Wuornos is mentally ill, too unstable to face the death penalty.
I've been practicing for 44 years, and I was a prosecutor for a number of years. That was the first time I've seen a defendant actually walk in and saying, I want to drop all my appeals. I want to be sentenced. I deserve to be sentenced to death.
Her attorneys argued that Aileen was not fit to make this decision, and she wasn't. But court-appointed psychologists allowed it.
The day she died, I wondered, will the truth die with her? Will we ever really find out everything that happened in her killing spree and in the lives of those victims? And I think so many sides of this story are still to be unearthed.
The day Aileen Wuornos was executed, I felt profoundly moved and saddened because I felt it was the wrong outcome for her case. And I heard of the vainglorious statements attributed to Aileen when she died, that I'm gonna be flying with Jesus or I'm on the rock. So she went out as she lived, imbalanced and impaired. I don't think Aileen Wuornos should have been executed.
Aileen Wuornos had no remorse, and she killed to steal. I think she deserved the death penalty. Yes, sir, I do.
I think we made the right decision. My conscience is clear. I would have hung the jury if I didn't think I was right.
Aileen Wuornos' final ride in a hearse from the execution chamber. Victims' families are not sorry she's gone.
She got off really easy. These men suffered. The men's families suffered tremendously all these years. I mean, it was cold-blood murder.
I was glad she was gone. And someone said to me, well, don't you feel bad because she was abused? And I said, no, I don't. I said, everybody has been abused in their life sometime. But they don't murder people because of it. And she did.
Over the years, Wuornos was called the highway hooker and the damsel of death.
This is the story of a predatory prostitute whose hatred was so great that she didn't care about murdering these men, and she didn't care about what would happen to their families.
You have this notion of the cartoonish lesbian serial killer, and that's not who she was. That's not who Miss Wuornos was.
A nation really is judged upon how it treats its least fortunate. And Aileen Wuornos really was representative of our least fortunate. And in the end, society raped her and the judicial system raped her of her rights.
There was nothing that stood out to me at the time, and nothing really that stands out to me now as having been indicative of an unfair trial.
When you look at what happened in this case, everybody involved believed that death was the foregone conclusion. If everybody knows what the result is, and they're signing book and movie deals, how is that a fair trial?